Elderberries are super famous as a cold and flu response, and for good reason. You know, they really help to prevent viral replication and viral penetration of your own cells. So what that means is that in order for a virus to infect you, it needs to not just get onto your body, but into your body, into the actual cells of your body, in order to turn your cell into a little virus factory. And in order to do that, the virus has a couple of ways that it can break and enter and get into the cell itself. Elderberry disables some of those lockpicks or whatever we want to call them, and makes it so that the virus can't actually get in to your cell, and then it can't replicate, and now we can stop that infection in its tracks. So elderberry is super helpful in those cases, and it makes a lot of sense when you see somebody in your house be sick, or when you're just starting to feel something coming on in your system, to go ahead and start working with elderberry. And of course, you can work with classic elderberry syrup. You can also work with tinctures of elderberry. That's going to work just fine. You can make a straight up elderberry decoction, maybe put some ginger in there if you want, a bit of licorice, some cinnamon, and so on, make it taste good. But anything that gives you that deep, dark, red, blue, purple elderberry color is going to give you what we're looking for here. So the thing is, though, that there's a little bit more to elderberry than just that. It's not only for cold and flu, it's not only for viral protection. Elderberry is also a nice alternative, and that word means an herb that supports your body in its eliminative functions and in the maintenance of healthy fluids inside of the system. Elderberry does a lot of that effect through its impacts on immunity, immune activity, and immune defense, and immune stimulation, because in the end, that is part of the quality of our internal fluids. Our blood, our lymph, is how much infection is present, or how many invaders are there. So elderberry helps with that. But it does also have some draining effects to get rid of some excess fluid. It has a lot of anti-inflammatory power to it. And so that's helping to keep that inflammatory balance inside of our system. And it's just a very helpful all-around herb. So you don't have to restrict elderberry to being only a cold and flu herb. It does sometimes make sense to include it in formulas for, general overall health, or for spring cleaning on the internal side, and other ideas where we would turn to our alternative class of herbs. And just like any other plant, in the whole Materia Medica, all these plants are more than one thing, and there are lots of ways to think of and to work with elderberry. So today, let me just plant that seed that it's not only for fighting off respiratory infections, it's also a useful herb to include in your alternative blends.